Congress hasn't yet made it possible to apply for permanent resident status based just on having DACA. So if you have DACA, let's talk about what else you need in order to apply for permanent resident status and what your process might look like. My name is Seth. I'm an immigration attorney. If you find this video informative, please give it a like. In general, and there are exceptions, but in general, in order to apply for permanent resident status without leaving the United States, your last entry must have been with inspection. That just means that an immigration officer saw you and gave you permission to come into the United States. If that didn't happen in your case, then you can fix that by traveling on advance parole. Is the advance parole enough for you to qualify for permanent resident status? Well, no, not by itself. You would also need a family member who could file a petition for you. That family member has to be of a certain relationship. So, a U.S. citizen spouse would qualify. A U.S. citizen parent can qualify if you're still under 21. Or a U.S. citizen child can qualify if the child is over 21. That person could then petition for you, and in general, you could get your permanent resident status here in the United States without an interview abroad. Now, what if you don't have one of those people in your family, either a U.S. citizen spouse or parent while you're under 21 or child who's over 21, also a U.S. citizen? Well, there are other types of family relationships that qualify someone to petition for you. So, for example, if your spouse has a green card, if your parent has a green card or is a citizen, even if you're over 21, they can still petition for you. Your process would just look differently. There are some exceptions to this. I'm talking about a general case where someone hasn't, for example, been on a non-immigrant visa for years. They've been relying on DACA protection. In general, if someone who's not in one of those 3 family relationships I mentioned earlier files a petition for you, you might wait longer for your visa than if you had one of those people in your family. But you're also probably not going to qualify to get your permanent resident status in the United States. Generally, your situation is going to end with an interview at a U.S. consulate abroad. But if you obtain DACA protection before you were 18 years old, and you've renewed it on time each time, so you haven't had a gap in DACA protection, or if you've had a gap, the gaps don't add up to more than 180 days, then you won't require what a lot of people have to apply for, which is a waiver for the ground of inadmissibility for accumulated unlawful presence. That just means that Congress, or rather USCIS, won't treat you as having spent enough time in the United States undocumented to need to request special forgiveness for that. That shaves about a year off your application process, and it saves you some money. So it's a big benefit. It's an option that exists for a lot of people with DACA. It's a very good one, even though it does end with an interview at the U.S. consulate in your country of birth. There are other people listening who might have problems in their cases even though they have DACA protection. So the problems I'm thinking of would be things like if when your family entered the United States you were put in removal proceedings, or after being in the United States for a while you left and then re-entered without inspection. Those things might mean that this information doesn't apply to you the same as to everyone else, but if you have questions about your individual case, please give me a call, 678-400-0202. Again, 678-400-0202. If you have questions about the information in this video, just note them in the comments below. I'm doing appointments by video, by phone, and in person with COVID protections. If you know someone who might benefit from the information in this video, please share it, and thanks very much for watching.